Another famous quote by Warren Buffett is, when there's greed in the market, be fearful, and when there's fear in the market, be greedy. That was the exact same mindset that I applied to get to where I am all the time.
Like there's two, you can be positive, you can be negative, right? You can be a positive thinker looking for opportunities, or you can be a negative person, take an opportunity and spin it negatively. I kind of like to, I'm a glass half full kind of guy, but I don't like to get too half full, right? It's kind of like I like to stay right in the middle. I analyze both sides of it, and I'm going to lean towards making a move. What's some advice for you on staying positive? How do you get yourself around the right people that can inspire you in a negative environment that's never going to get better, in my opinion? Social media and all that stuff.
Yeah.
How do we insulate ourselves so that we can avoid that negativity and continue to put our money to work?
Yeah, obviously you have to listen to the right people. If you're always listening to negative people, you are somewhat of a product of your environment, right? And your environment doesn't necessarily have to be physical, right? So if you're always listening to negative people, you're going to turn negative, probably, or you're gonna have a negative outlook on whatever you're being sold, right? And then not only that, but I think you need to pay attention to people that are in the positions, or have been in the positions, or are headed in the position that you want to be in.
So
and
true,
how are you going to get into those positions? How are you going to get into those positions? Listening to people that never make moves. You're not going to be able to accomplish anything if you don't make any moves. And there's always going to be an argument for not making a move. All the time, like what you just said. There's always an argument.
As you're saying this, Dan, I'm thinking to myself, like I'm thinking of my social circle. Let's say there's 100 people or so, friends, family, extended family, whatever. And I'm trying to pull out of my immediate circle the number of people that I could go to right now and say, hey, let's talk about real estate investing. And they'd be like, oh yeah, like they would be excited about it. Every one of those people would be negative. The average person, right? Yeah. My parents, my brother, my sister, my sister-in-law, my brother, like everybody would come at me with the negative side of, oh, now's not a good time. Now's not a good time. And I think to your point, why would I go to them?
Yeah.
Right. I know what they're going to say. Why don't I go to somebody like yourself or other experienced investors or people that have gotten to a higher level? I bet you they're going to have a very different story.
I'll tell you
than
this.
The average person.
Yeah. I'll tell you this. The people that I see that are always posting about negative shit, especially on Twitter, especially online, they rarely have anything to, write home about, or they've rarely accomplished something of substance.
This is key.
Do you get what I'm trying to say? Yeah. And the people that claim that they have are anonymous accounts or whatever, so there's no way to actually, not that you should go out there and verify everybody, but I mean, I think it is important to have some sort of verification if you're going to be taking advice from people that they know what they're talking about and they have done it, right? I mean, why would you ever go to the gym and get some personal training advice from a fat guy? Like, it doesn't make that is illogical. Yeah. It's illogical.
It's a good analogy here.
Walk the walk. Like, I want to take advice from people that walk the walk. And something that I have noticed is the most successful people that I have seen on Twitter, on social media, whatever, they make moves no matter what is going on. They always are making moves. Same thing with the billionaires, Warren Buffett, Charlie Munger. Like, these guys have always said shit during any. Again, what's another famous quote by Warren Buffett is, when there's greed in the market, be fearful, and when there's fear in the market, be greedy. It's exactly the same. I apply that. That was the exact same mindset that I applied to get to where I am all the time. And it's worked out.
When we were talking before, you kind of brought up a good point. You were down in Florida. I couldn't make it, unfortunately, but this weekend you were telling me you're on Ocean Drive.
Yeah.
And you're looking around at the real estate around you, and you said something very interesting. You're like, these people that own this stuff, you think they're sitting around on Twitter right now, doom scrolling, they call it, just looking at the negative news?
No.
They don't have time for that.
No.
They don't care what macro's saying. They're analyzing deals on a case-by-case basis. They're putting their money to work. They don't care what the plebs on Twitter are saying, or the people that haven't done anything.
Yeah.
Like, I found myself in kind of like a Twitter argument the other day where this guy was, he's been calling for like the world to end for the past 6 months straight, and real estate's going to crash and all this. I said, well, hey, do you recommend renting right now instead of buying? And he said, oh, I wouldn't be buying in this environment. I'm like, well, do you rent or do you own a home? And he says, oh, I own a home free and clear. I'm like, why don't you sell it and buy it back during the crash then? Because you're so sure it's going to happen. You're going to make hundreds of thousands of dollars. Like, sell your house now, buy it back when the crash, like put your money where your mouth is. And of course, crickets. Yeah. But I'm not, my point is that like these people that are saying this stuff, they generally don't make any moves. They don't have anything to show for it. Number one. Number two, their actions aren't backing up what they're saying, because if they were, they would sell whatever they're living in, right? And they'd go rent, and they would time the market like they think they can. Oh, it's going to crash. It's going to crash. Okay, sell now. Go buy back.
Or they'd be successful enough to realize that, okay, well, that's I'm actually not leveraging my principal residence. Like, why wouldn't I be leveraging my principal residence? I could be, even if in a private mortgage, I could be getting fucking double the amount of interest. Like, just dumb shit like that. Or like, it just makes no sense. Like, the arguments that these guys present don't make any sense. It's indicative of them never making moves, never getting to a certain position in their life that allows that has any sort of credibility for what they're saying in terms of somebody that is substantially successful that should take their advice. It really doesn't make any sense.
Yeah.
They're pulling viewership and they're pulling their clout based off negativity. And that is it. That's it. And people love it. People love the negative. It's contagious. It really is.
And
it's fucking contagious.
It sells 100%. So if you want to insulate yourself from that, you would recommend tune out the noise.
You have to.
Surround yourself with experienced, successful people as much as you can. You can do that on social media now, by the way, which is awesome, right? You can listen to high-level people that are on podcasts that have made, gotten to levels that you'll never get to probably, but you can get inspiration from them and insulate yourself from the negativity.
Yeah, it's so important to do that.
Yeah, it's massive. So and then tune out the news. Like, macro is so terrifying if you believe it. It'll never be clear. The macro picture will never be like, oh, everything's great, go buy real estate. No macro analyst will ever say that to you. No news talking head.
They can't say it.
They can't say it. They won't say it. They'll never say it. If you're waiting for those people to tell you, folks, you're going to be on the sidelines until the day you die.
Yeah, seriously.
Anyways, man, glad to be back on. We'll just cut this out, but
glad to be back on Pull the Trigger podcast.
But
we'll do that. We'll add that in there.
Yeah.
No, it's good. Yeah, well, very, very real estate focused podcast. Exactly how we're making moves.